Hey, horror legends have to start somewhere, even if that means being in one of the worst video games ever made.
What the hell happened?
The first full-length Terrifier hit the scene in 2016 as a somewhat obscure horror movie that went all in on shocking gore. Not a decade later, Terrifier is now a popular franchise, with the third installment making its audience cheer and pass out in theaters in equal measure. As Terrifier has gone from a small indie production to a beloved horror franchise, it's also made its way outside of the horror fanatic subculture. In October 2024, it was announced that Terrifier is getting its own video game, an old-school beat-em-up with more than a passing resemblance to Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game. Fans of the movies are excited to get the chance to control Art the Clown for themselves, and gamers are interested to see what all the fuss is about Terrifier. For the star of the films, though, the video game world is already pretty familiar.
Hey, my brother, man. You here for home improvement?
David Howard Thornton, the man responsible for bringing Art to life, has actually spent a good bit of time working as a video game voice actor. In 2013, he had the opportunity to voice some characters in Ride to Hell Retribution, which has one of the worst Metacritic ratings we've ever seen, a whopping 19. Ride to Hell undoubtedly earned its bad reputation, but Thornton's few scenes in the game proved that he had some acting chops well before he stepped into Art's clown shoes. As you might have guessed, Ride to Hell came out when Sons of Anarchy was one of the most popular shows on television. The game follows Jake Conway, a Vietnam vet seeking revenge after his brother gets killed by a member of a gang called the Devil's Hand. The plot is as cliché as you can imagine, but it's arguably the strongest part of the game. Ride to Hell was an absolute mess from top to bottom. The combat mechanics, a main focus of the gameplay, were unresponsive and uninspired even when they worked. Players hoping for great motorcycle mechanics in a biker game were sorely disappointed to find that riding rarely happened in Ride to Hell. And when it does, it makes driving in Grand Theft Auto 4 seem like a smooth experience. Metro's review said, quote, "Words cannot explain just how awful Ride to Hell really is," adding that, "The game is so bad it could suck the enamel off your wisdom teeth." Giant Bomb named it the worst game of 2013, and in a 1 out of 10 review, GameSpot argued that it could be a competitor for the worst game of all time. Every review pointed out the uninspired and barely functional mechanics, but many of them all cited the game's voice acting as a major disappointment.
Jesus!
Oh, come on, baby. We know you like it.
I only like it from my man, and you boys know damn well who he is.
We're gonna let you be the judge, but we respectfully disagree when it comes to Thornton's performance. David Howard Thornton didn't get to play the main character in Ride to Hell, but that's probably for the better. Jake Conway might have been the focus of the story, but he's far from memorable. Besides, by playing side characters, Thornton got to ham it up and show off his range in more ways than one. Introducing, well, we'll let Jake's uncle and the most badass character in the game say it for us.
You won't have any trouble finding him. He's called Dr. Blotter.
As Dr. Blotter, Thornton got to play a far-out hippie doctor who's clearly taken a few too many psychedelics. Jake Conway comes off as even more stiff and awkward than usual, as Thornton really plays up the dog's eccentricities, like a character who got left out of the final cut of Easy Rider.
You give me something, I'll give you something.
It's a nice bit of solid character work that stands out in the game. Thornton shines even more as a villain called Anvil. Now that we've seen Thornton in Terrifier, it's clear that playing a murderous bad guy is more in his wheelhouse. Again, Anvil might not be the most memorable villain of all time, but we think Thornton's performance is worth at least another point in all those reviews. It makes you want to see what Thornton can do with a similar side character in a GTA game.